This is a big week. It's when we need a decent relaxation of social distancing measures in this country. Yes, we need to be careful, but we're on top of this outbreak. We've not even gone close to overwhelming our health system. In fact, we created massive extra capacity and haven't even gone close to stressing the existing systems. That's not a criticism. I've got nothing but praise for how our governments and health systems, state and federal, responded quickly to this. But they're well ahead of where they feared we'd be at this stage, and that means that the measures should be eased now. We've got the capacity to deal with any new outbreaks, and we're seeing that at Cedar Meats in Melbourne and Newmarch House in Sydney, where people are focusing on quelling those outbreaks. We can reimpose any measures or temporarily close all kinds of places if and when we need to. But we've got to get this country back to work. Every day a business is closed is another day closer to liquidation. Every day a person is unemployed is more financial pain and making it harder for them to get back. We never should have shut schools, as I've said for weeks, even months, in line with the medical advice. But now at least all the states are starting to get kids back to school, much slower than many of us would want, but at least it's happening. Queensland took a big leap forward with early and late years heading back on Monday, and all students are going to be back at the end of the month. But look at what you're up against when you are arguing in favour of kids attending school. This tweet from a former Labor senator sums it up. Breaking news, a Victorian school to be shut down due to a coronavirus outbreak, says Doug Cameron. He goes on to say this makes Morrison government attacks on the Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews look vindictive and stupid. Now, this is just nuts. One teacher gets the virus. The teacher was not in contact with students. It's certainly not an outbreak, and all precautions are now being taken. There'll be plenty more infections like this at schools, like the ones that have happened before, and they'll be managed. Kids tend not to get the virus or get very sick from it or spread it. South Australian schools were not shut down, and that state's had no new infections for over a week. We've got to learn to live with this thing. Think about the hospitality sector. 6 weeks ago, they were told to make major changes for social distancing. Remember the 1 person every 4 square metres stuff? They were given no time to get that sorted out when a couple of days later, all pubs, clubs and restaurants were forced to shut. OK, we all went along with this because we were worried about the spread of COVID-19 at that time. But that decision actually coincides with the peak weekend of infections, and we've been trending down ever since. Given the incubation period, that of course means that the closure of pubs and clubs has not been the critical factor in pushing our infections down. It means we were getting on top of the situation before that severe measure was taken. Now, as I say, I make no criticism for that decision at the time. It was better to be safe than to be desperately sorry. But National Cabinet meets again tomorrow and then on Friday with promises we'll see some relaxation. This must happen. These businesses need help. They need hope. It's time restaurants and hotels and clubs were allowed to find a way to reopen. Not open slather, of course, but with some new rules in place because people need jobs, businesses need the ability to trade, and society needs to get moving.